These are some of the broadcasts that we would like to introduce you to that we'll be bringing to you here on this channel. I hope you all enjoy each of them, and please feel free to subscribe to us and follow us here, as well as on Facebook, Twitter, and Wordpress, so that you can stay updated to all of our broadcasts and future upcoming broadcasts as well. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to KOTR. Tonight's podcast will be Urban and Folk Legends, the Gods, Fallen Angels, and Nephilim. Give me a couple seconds here to share this link in a few places and we'll get started. So tonight we're going to get into a probably touchy subject. Shocking, right? Me, never do it. When do I never, ever do a touchy subject? Everything it seems I do is touchy anymore. What I ask tonight is for you guys to take what you think you know and believe and put it to the side for a bit. We need to be able to question things and think outside the box. We need to realize that, throughout time immemorial, there's been a concept of God, gods, goddesses, spirits, presences. And we've seen how these various beliefs and ideologies and philosophies and teachings has been used to divide us. Oh, wait, did I just say divide? Yeah, I think I did. I think I heard somebody say that. Seriously, I mean, let's look at religion as we know it. It's probably one of the greatest tools for division. But yet we see that the ideology of religion, the ideology of God, has been found in every culture, throughout time. We're always clashing and arguing about who's right or wrong, or because you believe this, you're evil. Even I have my own concept of God. And for those that don't know, there's many faces and names of God. They are all of the true God. That's how I believe it. I didn't always believe that. And one day I was talking to this older Native American, and he knew I was Christian at the time, and he asked me what my beliefs was. And I, kind of told him what I've experienced thus far at an early age. I was like 20 then. Yeah, I was 20 going on 21. Wow, 20 years ago. When I had this conversation with this Native American. And he started telling me his ideology, his beliefs, his people's beliefs. Then he took on more of the historian, scholar approach to it. I started pointing out how many belief systems have the same story, just different names. How that In a sense, we all believe in the same God. We just call it different names or have different aspects. I mean, we can use the classical Christian version. They say they only have one God, and they have the devil, or Lucifer. Lucifer was not a god, he was a fallen angel. Then we have 72 names for God in the Christian ideology and belief system. More on the occult aspect. As much anymore, Christians don't believe in or practice the idea of 72 names, it's just God. Only in the more mystical societies of Christianity do we find the mention of the 72 names. I am that I am. Adonai Haaretz, Lord of Earth, God of Earth. Jehovah. Hell. Just some of the many names Tetragrammaton. And then we have the angels. Then we have the fallen angels. And their offspring, the Nephilim, the race of giants. What we learn about the Christian aspect of God is he's loving, he's wrathful, he's vengeful. He's merciful. He created man in his own image, as their belief system teaches. So therefore, if he created man, if we're created in his image, are we not all things? Is he not all things? Male, female, good, evil. I mean, he's wrathful, vengeful. We don't attribute that when applying it to God as evil. Lucifer, the fallen angels, the yin and yang, the eating of the forbidden fruit, to where we now see things. We see the nakedness of people. We see the yin and the yang in people when it was a part of us because we was created in his image. Now, the Egyptian pantheon, the Greek pantheon, the Roman pantheon before Catholicism rewrote the Roman pantheon. Multiple gods, pantheon of gods, goddesses, all different aspects that you could apply other labels to, properties to. That's the way I look at it. That's the way I see it. That's the way it speaks to me. You know, and then we have certain organizations such as the Golden Dawn, OTO, excuse me, Church of Set, Church of Satan. We see the aspects of how they've taken from each religion and added it onto theirs. They've taken the mystical aspects. You see it more enriched in the Golden Dawn than OTO, where we have this part of a culture and this part of a culture and this part of a culture all combined into one teaching system. The use of various gods from different cultures and beliefs. And we see even the Christian form within these organizations, these philosophies of religion. As you guys know, I say, I can't stand the concept of religion because it's dogma. The dogma instills Fear controls through fear. It dictates that this group is evil or this group and this group and this group because they don't believe in our dogma, our edicts. So therefore anything outside that is evil. But we look at all of our communities, and I say all, Christian, Muslim, Judaism, pagan. Look at how many different forms of beliefs, different communities we have. No one questions why all these are divided, why we're all pitted against each other. You know, why must somebody be wrong? Why can't we all be right? We just are in different paths. You know, to each person. They don't want to think about that. Why? Because we're taught from the beginning of our lives these dogmas, that anything outside this dogma is evil, bad, wrong, whatever colorful negative term you want to use. We are programming our children with these philosophies and ideologies. But it's been going on throughout history as we look at each culture and their religious beliefs. You know, we'll sit here and argue whose came first. Well, most of us pagans will say ours was before theirs. You know, there's cultures and religious practices and beliefs that we're just now finding that we're lost. I mean, most people, very few people understand the Sumerian and Babylonian culture and their worship of gods and stuff. And there's many that will say, you know, that why are the Egyptians gods depicted as bigger than man? Well, obviously they're gods. They're bigger in our mind. Then there's some that will venture one step farther, and this is what I'm going to venture into. Because in a sense it makes sense. Let's look at all the religions in the world, even the lost ones that have been passed down from generation but never written in a written form. They're not technically lost, but there's no written form. Well, many of us who've ever studied Druidism or practiced Druidism, we know earlier in the forms of Druidic, and it was forbidden to write it down. Why? What is writing? Writing is creation. We create through our writing. What is spelling? It is spell work. We're creating a word, giving it meaning, giving it property. We understand this as occultists, as pagans. But outside our communities, they don't see it that way. They don't understand it as that. So they don't even question the word spell. But when we mention spell, taboo, evil, they don't even question their holy text. Some of you are probably saying, okay, get to the point. But the point is questioning. The point is, why has this become more of a way throughout every culture and every belief system, a means to divide us? And as I've stated, I believe that every religion has part of the story. Most people think that their text is the only story. I think it's been scattered and divided amongst all the beliefs and practices. I think it was unintentional. That's why I stated in the beginning of the video, you're going to have to put aside what you think you know and have that open mind to question everything that you thought you knew. Doesn't mean adhere to what it is. It just means, for now, you're starting with a clean slate, a fresh mind, a fresh look. You're not allowing a belief system to interact with what you're hearing tonight. Once the show's over, go ahead and take that belief and put it back. Now, people are like, that makes no sense what you're saying. Actually, it kind of does, and that's how I was taught. I was taught to take everything I know, everything that I've been taught, put it up on the shelf, let it gather dust. Don't let any of that in while you're learning this. Don't question, learn. Then when you finish, take that, allow it back in. Now start questioning everything that you thought you knew, including what you just learned. How does it make you react? How does it make you feel? It teaches you to start breaking down some of the false reality, the things that we were taught, that we're told were true. So I think we can pretty much look at the concept of God. Now let's get into the next part of this. This is where the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree, in my opinion. No pun intended either. We have the fallen angels, the watchers, whatever colorful term we want to give this group. But we know that part of the reason they fell, and well, wait, let's give them another name that most people don't forget: demons. The fallen became the devil, Lucifer, Azeroth, or Astroth, Damtilian, and the various other geotic names. They became the demons, the serpents. And we see their interaction. We see, what about the Tower of Babel, the division, the breaking of nations into different tribes and languages. According to many scriptures, many texts, religious texts, the fallen taught us how to read, write, mathematics, science, astrology, all the arts they taught to man. Wait, they taught us all these things, but they did not teach us religion. Did they not teach us how to be divided? But they divide us intentionally. So we'd always be fighting and pitting each other against each other. So we wouldn't realize the truth and wouldn't be able to see the whole story. No one questions that. Because if we would start questioning that very ideology of this, that means we're no different from any other belief system. We're not supposed to be divided. We have knowledge that we're supposed to share with each other to put the pieces of the puzzle back together. That's why I referred to the fall, the Tower of Babel, the fall, and the divisions of nations. Where every nation had their own language, Because at one point in time, I firmly believe that we spoke a universal language. We all spoke the same language, and it's hinted at even in the Christian Bible with the Tower of Babel. These fallen angels have taught man throughout centuries, and they've divided us and pitted us against each other. You know, they created a new race upon this world, the Nephilim, which was the offspring of human and angels. Now, how many of the gods that we think were gods in texts and cultures, how many of them may have been fallen angels, not real gods at all? Because we have to understand the concept of power, the concept of deity, godhood, worshippers, followers, subscribers. A control mechanism to control the masses. Like-minded individuals. Now, people don't miss the point why we're always drawn to like-minded people. They seem to find us no matter where we're at in the world. This moment, something that we're meant to learn from them. Part of the story that has been misled to us. You know, I mean, you say, well, this is all conspiracy. Think about it. Think about why do we always argue about religion? Why are we so divided? Look at the history. Go back. Look at the legends of gods. Look at the legends of the fallen angels. Let's go a little bit more modern time. Not modern as today, but in the past modern. Let's start with Dee and Kelly and the Enochian system, Enoch, philosophies and teachings of Enoch from the Bible, even from the Judaism text, how he depicted these things, how he talked about these very same things. Why? And there's always that question when it comes to Dee and Kelly and the Enochian system. Were they really talking to the angels? Or were they talking to the fallen ones? Or maybe it was a little bit of both. Because there's even Kelly, or I think, no, it was Dee, that questioned even some of the angels. But we must go back yet again to the fact that the fallen angels taught man science, math, writing, the arts, magic, how to create. Then we go back to God, the concept of gods and God. We are a creation of His. We are made in His image, so therefore we that those very same properties to create is already a part of us. You can start seeing how things start interwoven, how people start changing the names of things. Instead of alchemists, they became the science of alchemy instead of alchemist. Now we don't even really talk about alchemy, we talk about pharmacists, doctors, nurses, but yet we can find common terminology. Nurse practitioner. We are practitioners of magic. We are practitioners of our skills of art, the arts that we create. Christianity changed magic to science and said it was the study to prove the Bible right. And as time went on from there, it slowly changed. They still were using the old charts, mapping and writing a person's birth chart out. They called it astronomy instead of astrology, instead of seers or seers. Modern day magicians today we call engineers, scientists, mathematicians for numerology. For physics. As we see, as I pointed out a few, I don't know if it was on these, yeah, I think I pointed out on this channel. Red pill, the blue pill, take the red pill, and and you see everything for what it really is. What is the red pill? Is it not the very same concept of the apple in the Garden of Eden? Once more, we see things showing themselves. We just change the name. We don't refer to it as the forbidden fruit. Take this red pill. Learn of these forbidden knowledges once more. See through the reality. See through the veils of illusion that's been woven from you. Awaken. Be open. It makes one want to question. Okay, if these fallen angels taught us all these things, did they not teach us religion as well? That's a very slippery slope and a very thought-provoking ideology, isn't it? Because they taught us religion and taught man how to divide people and be masters over people through use of religion and dogma. So they can control the narrative to keep you from all that knowledge that you had. So you no longer see the nakedness of things. And that might go back to theorizing. Maybe that part of the forbidden fruit from the tree of knowledge. Maybe it was meant for us to eat. That's where, when you start questioning these things, I start looking at them in different lights and different perspectives and different views. You know, just like to a Christian, you can't tell them that you are a god or goddess. Not even when you point it out in their very own scripture, their very own sacred text, their Bible, in Psalms where it states, you are all gods and goddesses, answerable and only answerable to the one true God. like most people don't fail the understanding of how the hierarchy works within the structure here. There's God, and there's man, then there's angel. We have dominion over everything. Everything's beneath us. Now, to the fallen, they don't want people believing that we have dominion over them. We have control over them. We are their masters. Because if everybody believed that, what would this world be like? They'd have no control. Then their punishment, or what they did, would be a punishment. You know, but I think we can understand that a lot of the things we're seeing, things that are being reintroduced, can stem back from, it can be linked to the fallen angels. It can be understood why the Ten Commandments are, you shall not worship false idols. You shall not worship any other God but me. Why would man need that warning? Why would we need that warning? Interesting thoughts, isn't it? One could interpret it. He did not want us worshiping the fallen angels, the Nephilim, other men in positions of power. We were meant to be free thinkers, creators. If you truly believe we were created in his, as the Christians say, in his image, or in any God's image, I'm still sticking to the fact that there's many names and many aspects of God. As I stated, God, as God did create man in his image, is not God male and female? Or, going on the same theory with the fallen angels creating the division, creating the divide amongst us, pitting all of us against each other. Maybe we might find out there is multiple gods, because after all, even in the Christian text, it states we are gods and goddesses. I know, dangerous thinking, right? Then along comes Crowley, using the Enochian system as we call it today, the great working, the Babylon working. He cracks the door, as they say, cracks the veil. His interaction with the angels, and the Goetia, his interaction with the fallen angels, because as I pointed out with Dee and Kelly, they started questioning things about who is really speaking to them. Why? Nobody questions why. And even then, you see, it took them, it was late in their practice and years before they actually questioned why. what is the Enochian system? What are the Enochian tablets? Interesting, because it's numeric, it's alphabet, it's a square and a rectangle. And it's dealing with various planes of existence. It's also a cube. One looks at it and understands it. It is an infinite cube that continues on and on with no end. It is information. It is knowledge. It is wisdom. It is the process of tetragrammaton. Oh yeah, we need to go a little bit more modern, catching up to almost present times. We see it once more reveal itself, being used here in the United States, of all places. We see Parsons and Hubbard performing the Babylon working, continuing where Crowley left off. People that don't know who Parsons is, Jack Parsons. The reason why we have rockets, he was a NASA scientist that created the rocket. He's got his own little place named after him. But he started pursuing and practicing and doing and following Crowley's and Dee's footsteps, opening the doors. What do we want to open doors for? You open a door in the metaphysical sense, you walk through, or you allow things entrance and admittance. Was this not a way to allow the fallen angels to have more dominion on this plane, this earth? You know, and said, well, that don't exist. The Nephilim race died out. Did it? Did the Nephilim race die out? It goes back to the first. It goes back to the first video I did in the urban and urban and folk legends. Where I talked about Bigfoot. Bigfoot is considered a giant. Sasquatch. You know, yes, it's urban legend, it's folklore. But you can see it in almost every culture, in every country, has their Bigfoot, the Yeti, the swamp monster, and all the other colorful terms we've called it over the years. But in a sense, we all relate it to one thing, a giant being. Why don't we ever catch them on camera? Well, they are, if we'd call them the Nephilim, and then they have that knowledge of their ancestors, the teachings of the fallen angels, the properties that angels have, the things they can do and create and manifest. Interesting theory. Interesting thought process. Though one could say the Nephilim still walk this earth today. Some could even go as far to say maybe some of those things are exactly that, fallen angels. Like I said, what is fallen angels? We call them demons. Satan, Lucifer, Beelzebub, and all the colorful other labels we have for them. Or the Jewish term for them. Asmodee. Why, for those that studied the demonology and spirit realms and stuff, we see a positive and a negative within those realms. Throughout the study of demonology and the text. And then some of the fallen, I'm going to refer to them as fallen angels, some of them believe that they can one day return to heaven and regain their position. Where else do we hear that? Oh, Christian terminology is salvation. So before we go any farther for those things, I'm not saying that all things are bad. There may be fallen angels that believe they can return and be forgiven. And they interact helping people, teaching people, waking people up to the things around them. Showing them the truth. It goes back to the emphasis I put on Dee and Kelly. How they started to question some of the things that were talking to them. Some were seeing what we would consider angels. Maybe they were just the good fallen ones that believe they can find redemption, salvation, whatever you want to call it. You know, in other communities we hear the term the elites worshiping the fallen, the watchers. I think sometimes we got to pay attention to words. What are the watchers? You know, that has different meaning for different people, different cultures. But watchers in my ideology is those that watch and help protect. Now that's why I said I hear people calling people out. Those that are in the shadows need to step up. You might want to be careful about calling things out, those people out, those entities, because there's entities in the shadows as well that you don't want walking this earth. You want them right where they are, doing nothing, minding their own business. You know, I, for one, have very little experience when dealing with the fallen angels or the Nephilim or whatever term we want to use and label them. In my 40 years of existence on this earth, I've had one encounter. Which one was enough. It wasn't there was no malice there, but it was a different presence, a presence that I couldn't put nothing to. It was, in a sense, huge in volume that encompassed this whole room. It was a weird feeling. The only thing I could come to mind of what it was is a fallen angel, or I felt angels' presence. It's not that overwhelming. Not even the guardian angels. It's not that overwhelming. I'm sure it could be if they wanted it to be. But it was because somebody I was interacting with, because I was questioning things, trying to get some knowledge and information, and it manifested itself. Other than that, there was no interaction. Because of what it was trying to do. It was trying to communicate, but not communicate. To me, I felt like it was coming off more like it was trying to get in and possess. And that's, we all know, is a no-no. You don't, nothing has permission to do that. We should never ever give permission for that. Because then we are no longer in control. Then we do not know what it will do. We should never give anybody dominion over us. So it was a battle of wills, a battle of minds. It makes you wonder, because let's look at the whole concept of gods, fallen angels, Nephilim. They are things we cannot see unless made manifest, unless they show themselves. They can be everywhere, we just don't see them. You know, and it's like we talk about temples, temples to gods, to God. And we're now in this time, the modern time, this day of age, where we're creating cybernetics, robots, AIs, temples. What is your body? Your body is a temple. What does your temple hold? Your soul. Oh, you can go, yeah. We can go down that path too, as well, if you so wish, to open yet another Pandora's box of ideology and theoretical thinking. Because we've also looked at the world around us, how things evolve. Nephilim have evolved, maybe. Maybe. If you want to say, call the Yetis and Bigfoots Nephilim. You know, what is a vampire? Or the proper term, as we call it, a psychic vamp. What is a demon? What is the knowledge that we have, but we've never studied certain things, but yet it's there inside us. Some people have knowledges of past lives. So one could refer and say, well, are we from the offspring of the Nephilim? Or fallen angels? Yeah. You can now start to see how broad a spectrum this can go. And each time you open up one of those doors, you question these things. You're questioning the very things you were taught, the very things your community believes in. I firmly believe, now more than ever, the reason why we're always pitted against each other and divided is because of the fallen angels teaching us to be. It seems like when we start coming and uniting, new things come up that will further divide. that keep us away from seeing the whole story, realizing that every belief and religion out there holds part of the story, another missing piece to the puzzle. But yet, we see another aspect. Why there must be a hierarchy, why there must be control, why we must have politicians, religious leaders, why we must follow instead of lead. And there's many of us out there we're not followers. We don't follow. But yeah, we do follow certain things. We follow what we believe. And if our beliefs put us in a label, we start following that label instead of being free thinkers, instead of speaking up against that label. When that label starts causing division. Some have pointed this out, that many of the old gods may have been just that, the fallen angels. It depends. That goes to a matter of a person's perspective, what they choose to believe in or accept without questioning. Let me go one step farther, shall we? Before I wrap this show up tonight. You know, some people may, well, it sounds all good. You know, you're picking on everybody now. Oh, no, I missed a group. Oh, I completely missed a group. Don't worry, I'm getting back to Hubbard here in a second. Scientology. The black magician himself, Ron L. Hubbard, created Scientology. Who was his right-hand man? He was the left hand. Jack Parson, an occultist, a pagan, a ritual practitioner. So what is Scientology? Nothing more than another form of psychological. It is the psychological paradigm of magic. Once more, science is just another form of magic. It is a control structure when we're speaking of Scientology. Meant to be more on a psychological level, psychic level, using your mind. It's just really used and abused. Because of why? Well, they were performing the great work, just like Crowley and Kelly. So what entity spoke through Ron L. Hubbard? Was it a fallen angel? Teaching him how to manipulate, control people, showing them how to create the technology of the future, to use propaganda labels in a whole new way, how to give everything without an instruction manual. Now let's jump back to space. NASA. Not leaving your UFO guys out, not one bit. Aliens. What are aliens? What is ET? Extraterrestrial. Could it not be an angel? Could it not be God? Oh, wow. Boy, am I really going down a rabbit hole tonight, right? We've got all these colorful terms in the alien community, the UFO community, about gray men, reptilian, and wow, the list goes on and on. Is it yet another illusion of the fallen angels, the Nephilim, the old gods, God himself, presence being shown through angels, even angels? We just call things by many different names, depending on the practice that we adhere to and call our belief or religion. You know, just like for every planetary attribute, we'll find an angelic attribute. We'll find its opposite in it as well. The yin and the yang, once more, represented in all things, even in nature. Many of these different teachings, beliefs, ideologies, not many, probably all, are just pieces of an elaborate puzzle, pieces to the true story that they don't want you to know. Because if you know, the illusion of control is lost. They can no longer control you through fear. You now have dominion over all these things that were put under you. But in society, we can't have talks like this because we're taught that that view is evil because it goes against the views of your community, your religion, whatever you want to use as a label. Is it not time we break free from such things? Is it not time we be free thinkers, thinking for ourselves, taking control of our very own lives, becoming the masters of ourselves, and showing respect to others as well? Everybody has a different path. Everybody's unique. Everybody does things differently. We're taught to disagree. We're taught to put a label on something. Why do we call the apple red? Well, somebody wrote it and said it was red. What is red? Red to me, to you, it might be red. To me, it might be purple. Why? Because you call it red. I don't agree with you. Purple. Why? Because somebody said it was. But I say it's purple. The power of writing and creating something and giving it properties and attributes. But at some point in time, somebody said that was red. And somebody came along and questioned it, said it was purple. And thus the division and the argument ensued that continues to ensue to present day. Instead of looking at it as just a piece of the puzzle, that there's truth in all things. We just have to listen to ourselves to put those pieces together, start building and recreating the original story that was shattered amongst the nations, the division amongst the cultures. We're living in a day and age where we are coming back full circle to once more a universal language. It means to communicate with everybody in every community. We're reconnecting. Some will say, well, that's a hive mind thinking. We're all connected. Now we can reach out to each other more and more. How long before we end up with a new religion, a new set of fallen angels to say, a new set of gods in the form of robotics, AIs, 100 years from now, maybe the concept of the religions we know today will be considered pagan. Considered the old gods. Food for thought to think about. You know, we have so much that we never question. We never question why do we have all this division. Maybe it was created by those fallen angels, the Nephilim. Maybe some of the old gods we thought were gods or God may not be so. That's where you have to rely on yourself. No one else. You have to rely on that voice inside you telling you, leading you, showing you things. You have to trust that. Not another man, not me, not another religion. Follow yourself, listen to yourself. Learn to listen to things around you as they speak to you, conveying you these messages. Question everything. And realize when you start doing that, you're going to be less and less likely to judge a person or a group or a community or a label. You're going to be less likely to condemn them all for the bad apples. Excuse me. I think now we can start to see maybe we need to question even the things we wouldn't normally question. It's another way to look at culture and the idea of gods, God, angels, demons, giants, Nephilims, Bigfoot, aliens. Another way to look that maybe there's a piece of the story in all the various forms of religion. They divide us so we don't link them and put them together, use dogma to keep us from the real truth, the real spiritual awakening that takes place each time we realize these truths. In the end, it is up to you to do the things you feel necessary. It's up to you to believe in what you want to. I can't tell you what to believe in, nor would I ever. You're unique. You have your own path. I do hope you guys enjoyed this series. Like I said, it's a little bit different from what we normally talk about. But that's what I love about urban and folk legends, because it doesn't have to be the classical sense of an urban legend or a folk legend. Even within legends and folk, legends and urban legends, there's truth to be found. Why do the group of people believe in vampirism? Well, we know there is psychic vampirism. The concept of it, we know that we can take other people's energies. We know when we do a ritual, we use other people's energies to strengthen that ritual. We are taking that energy. We also know other various forms and properties of things when it comes to that topic. Much can be said about the very topic I just talked about. There's truth in all things if one is willing to look, listen, and question. That's what the Urban and Folk Legends series is all about. Making you think outside the box, question, reviewing some history. This was more history on religions and touching upon various different ones to make you think for yourselves. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I enjoy doing these, and for some, yeah, it's been a while since I've done a live stream from YouTube. I will be trying to do at least a stream here or on Facebook once a week. You know? So I wish you guys a happy Yule, Christmas, Hanukkah. Oh yeah, we can, we can go down that road too. Why do we have all these different names for Christmas? I think you could find those answers just in this video. Yeah, question farther. See? You guys enjoy yourselves, be safe, and enjoy life, guys. I know I'm going to get off here and make me a shot of Jack Daniels and then start actually enjoying my birthday. So I will talk to you guys next week.